You know the cycle. It's 3 a.m., you're wide awake, mapping out a business, a fitness plan, and a path to read 50 books. But then, it's 3 p.m. You haven't moved from the couch in 4 hours, lost in a loop of short-form video. That high-octane energy in your chest has evaporated. In its place is a physical sensation of being stuck, as if your own massive goals have become a weight too heavy to lift. This illustrates the expectation gap. It represents the space between your ideal future self and your current reality. When this canyon widens, the distance between where you are and where you want to be feels impossible to cross. Many people label this experience as laziness. However, the intensity of the ambition suggests something else is happening beneath the surface, a specific type of paralysis triggered by the scale of the vision itself. To manage this anxiety, the brain employs a sophisticated tactic known as productive procrastination. This creates a sense of forward motion without requiring any actual risk. You might spend an entire weekend color-coding a planner, researching the perfect shelf for a garage you haven't cleaned, or watching hours of content about how to stay motivated. These activities feel productive. Biologically, however, the brain is confusing the act of consuming information with the physical act of execution. This raises a difficult question. Why do we experience such profound resistance when we try to move toward the things we value most? Moving past this stuckness requires analyzing procrastination through a biological lens. When we do, these avoidance tactics reveal themselves as a hardwired survival strategy. This schematic reveals a biological civil war. Here, in the prefrontal cortex, resides your logical planner, handling executive functions. Opposing it is the limbic system. This ancient survival machine focuses entirely on immediate emotional impulses and processing threats in the present environment. When focusing on massive ambitions, these regions conflict. The prefrontal cortex identifies long-term benefits, but the limbic system looks for discomfort. Interpreting the uncertainty of a big goal as an active threat, it hijacks your attention, seeking immediate safety through low-risk distractions. From an evolutionary perspective, this inaction is a defense mechanism. It's a sign of biological panic, triggered by a nervous system prioritizing immediate safety over growth. This biological panic often takes the form of perfectionism. While it looks like high standards, perfectionism serves as a profound fear response to the possibility of being judged. Self-worth theory explains that for many ambitious people, effort is tied directly to identity. This creates identity risk, the terrifying thought that you might try your hardest and still fail, proving you weren't capable at all. To neutralize this risk, the brain employs self-handicapping. It places obstacles in its own path so that failure can be blamed on the obstacle rather than your own ability. Procrastination provides this lazy shield. By waiting until the final hour or doing nothing at all, you ensure that if the project fails, you can blame a lack of time rather than a lack of talent. This maintains a comforting internal narrative, the belief that you would have succeeded if you had only applied yourself. Constant inaction acts as a sophisticated coping mechanism. It protects the ego from the painful reality of its own limitations by ensuring your potential is never actually tested. Because this is a survival response, you cannot outthink it or wait for motivation to arrive. You have to work within the brain's existing architecture. Human biology includes a tendency toward temporal discounting. We naturally devalue future benefits for immediate relief. This makes relying on willpower a biological dead end. Environment design bypasses this struggle. By structuring your surroundings to make helpful behaviors inevitable and unhelpful ones difficult, you remove the need for constant discipline. Utilizing micro-habits further shrinks the perceived threat to the limbic system. Instead of aiming for a massive achievement, you commit to an action so small it feels trivial, like writing a single sentence. Focusing on quantity over quality during the first attempt forces the brain to move. It prevents the perfectionist reflex from triggering the paralysis loop. Movement creates motivation. Initiating a task even when the nervous system signals resistance is the only systemic way to recalibrate the brain's alarm response. Breaking this cycle requires addressing the role of guilt. Punishing yourself for past inaction only increases the anxiety that fuels the avoidance loop. Self-compassion serves as a functional tool here. Forgiving yesterday's paralysis resets the nervous system and lowers the stakes of today's effort. Long-term progress requires the willingness to exist messily and